Ken, incredible, all this wizardry that's happening right now, you know. Woo!
Very excited to be here. This is our first Booster Club, Tiger Talk, broadcast, podcast, YouTube streaming, Facebook streaming, and we've got a number of cameras set up for our inaugural post, and I'm looking forward to all the exciting things that we're going to be able to talk about this evening and tell the members and the people who follow us on Facebook streaming. So, welcome.
Thanks, Ken. This is, unprecedented times in Kingston lacrosse. You know?
Absolutely. And I know we have a lot of really good ideas, and we had the opportunity to think about what we wanted to talk about today. And I want to let you welcome our fans and our family and tell us what made you get involved in Booster Club and come up with this great idea to expand the Booster Club to places it has never been.
It's a great story, actually. Spring break 2021. Sitting at home, and the previous Booster Club, I'll call her president, Jen Carpino, stopped at my house, knocked on my window, and there I was. And she had a big box of goodies and all kinds of great stuff. And she said, hey, I see you're on social media. You're doing a little of this and that. And you have a ninth grader out there that's going to be around for a while. So she passed the torch, and immediately, probably within 3 minutes, I said, well, I can't do this alone. I'm going to reach out to Ken Fromson. And here we are. Now doing Tiger Talks with a huge agenda of what we'd like to accomplish. But, we're here to just continue to expand the word and the game and the excitement around our lacrosse in Kingston. And excited to be here.
And this is our first time, and we'll get through technological problems. And I keep hearing it ding.
Yeah, it's my phone.
And I'm wondering what is going on. All right. So
mute your phone, everybody. No, not all you listeners out there. Keep it loud because, we're still working on this.
Right. We're going to try and test out a number of things to make this social media experience great for the members, the families, the players, the alumni. And our goal is to spread the word and grow the Kingston lacrosse program from all the age groups that we have and to get everyone involved. And who are we?
Well, it's a really unique story. 2011, there was no youth lacrosse here in the Kingston area. And all of a sudden, Dan Longo, we call him the godfather of lacrosse in Kingston. No, just kidding, for all of our fans out there. And Greg Amato put some feelers out and talked to a bunch of parents that were in second, third, and fourth grade. And we met over at Dan's office, Hudson Valley Foot Associates. And 10 years later, there's a lot of great stuff going on, from kindergarten and second grade youth teams led by none other than Pat Garrigan up to our program, which is terrific, and continuing to introduce the game to lots of great players and right up through our varsity ranks.
And so you have a student who's a senior and a student who's a freshman, and so we know we have at least 4 years of your participation.
Me and you together, Ken, at least four.
At least four. And hopefully even more. And
depends on how good we do, Ken, so
That's true. Absolutely. But I think that we're off to a great start. And that's a good segue into talking about what has the start been like for you. You've been spearheading this as essentially what we're going to have as the president of the Booster Club going forward. And how do you plan on making the experience for our student athletes the best it can be?
Wow. No pressure, Ken. That's a great question. I've really been talking to some of the legacy in our organization and looking at all the great history that we've had and trying to unveil some of that. So the education process has been terrific, going to the Spirit of the Stick, which, I've been involved with Kingston lacrosse now since 2011, and I didn't know that much about it, but it's a great recognition. over at Joe B's. We're revamping that. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. I'm not going to spoil everything tonight, but take a look at Joe B's next week. There's going to be a mini unveiling at some point, and you'll get a better idea what the Spirit of the Stick is. COVID has added some wrinkles. Instead of a senior night, we got to do a senior day, but it's May 1st. We actually just had a terrific photo shoot with the seniors, amazing new uniforms out at Dietz Stadium today. And then we got to work towards some end of the season celebration, awards, and recognizing all of the hard work, not just of our modified JV and varsity program, but we really want to make this inclusive all the way through the ranks, because we really are one big family here.
And I think that's awesome. And what do you anticipate the senior day on May 1st, 21? What do you think that's going to be like? What's going to entail?
The enthusiasm's building every day, from the boys showing up today and the unveiling of the new uniforms. They're really pumped. We had Brian Timbrook, BST photographer, out today taking some great photos. So we're going to have some posters. We're going to have some pomp and circumstance. We got to get some music going. We got Susan Timbrook may or may not be up in the booth, or Mike Dittis, but somebody's going to help us create an environment so we can be up in the booth and really pumping this thing up. We'll get some big posters out there, the boys, and make sure that we're recognizing the graduating seniors and their families for all they've done so far.
We are blowing through all the topics that we wanted to speak about, and I think that's great, because we don't ever want to have a long, drawn-out, boring Booster Club meeting. We want it to be enthusiastic and get people excited. And sometimes you have some teasers as to what's coming next. And one of those teasers was the Spirit of the Stick, that you said is affiliated with Joe B's Deli on Broadway here in the city of Newburgh. And
not Newburgh, though.
I'm sorry, Kingston. Oh my God.
You're making sure everybody's paying attention here, Ken. Our audience out there, our listeners.
See, I'm not perfect.
It's a team.
I feel like I'm a member of politics that doesn't remember where it is.
Look at your shirt. Reminder. Kingston Lacrosse.
The weird thing is, it was a password that I used, and that's why I just remembered it.
Oh, boy.
So now
don't say Newburgh in the same sentence as Kingston. I mean,
That's very funny.
We got that game coming up, a couple of weeks.
When was that game going to be? Do you remember?
I don't know it at the tip of my tongue, but we are. It will be home at Dietz versus Newburgh, which is another little, wet your whistle moment, and something that we want to promote and put some enthusiasm behind this year in particular.
All right, now let me get back. I digress.
Spirit of the Stick.
My embarrassment of not remembering which city we're in. What is the Spirit of the Stick that's demonstrated at the Joe B's Deli here in the city of Kingston?
Kingston. As it's been explained to me, and there's a better story behind it than I'll explain tonight, but more to come. After each varsity game, a varsity player is recognized, not necessarily for the most goals scored, but really the best team player, so it can incorporate a lot, which is just a great thing to recognize. And what we're going to do is we're going to provide that player with lunch over at Joe B's, so some motivation and some recognition, but the coaches will also recognize them in front of their peers. And throughout the season, after each game, they will recognize that particular player. The great part is, at the end of the season, one player is recognized for the annual Spirit of the Stick Award. And if you go into Joe B's tonight, if you haven't eaten yet, folks, great place. Actually, they're probably closed right now, Ken. But there's a very unique original wood. Oh, there we go. So you can see, folks, for all of our listeners, where we've been. And if you can really zero in on that calligraphy, or if you've seen it, Coach Collins has taken his pen to magic and put all of those terrific lacrosse players on the previous Spirit of the Stick. And if you look on our left, we're expanding that, and we're going to have something where you can see the stick all year long, because that stick will come off the wall during the regular season, Ken. And we want to be able to recognize our partnership with Joe B's, which has been terrific, and also all the great accomplishments of our lacrosse players.
I think that's really nice.
Hey, how'd I do on that explanation, by the way?
I think that was fantastic. And what's awesome about this is that you're getting the community involved. They are an integral part of the team. You've taken an idea that was good, you're making it great, and while the stick is gone, you still have that signage up at the store, at the deli, and the kids who have been recognized as the spirits of the stick for each year still have their names up, and they're there for years to come. And that's one example of how we are improving upon and expanding the benefits of Booster Club for the community and the kids to make their experience better. Let me ask you about another experience that you're planning or to do this season that's been done for a number of years, and that is the Danny Barnes game. Can you tell us what is the Danny Barnes game?
Well, again, I'm learning a lot, and a lot of great stories are being passed down through our lacrosse family. Danny Barnes is a graduate of Kingston High School. He was a multi-sport player, and from what I understand so far, and I will learn more as I go, he was just the standout player, leader, comrade in arms for our Kingston Tigers. I believe he played football and lacrosse, of course. And then he went on to the University of Albany, and he was a standout player, University of Albany. And unfortunately, around 30 years old, he passed away of cancer. So this, the community got together and started this amazing tradition that, by the way, folks, I am just, again, becoming a part of this. And I'm here to help, and we're looking forward to bringing that tradition back again this year. The game is the tradition, and the game is Kingston versus Rondout. This year it will be held at Dietz Stadium on May 21st, which is a Monday, and we will recognize this important gentleman who is part of the fabric of our lacrosse program and beyond. So, looking forward to that, and, more things to come.
How are you feeling?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever had this many cameras on me at one time. You know what I mean? But
take a moment.
Take a moment.
Take a breath.
Can we go to commercial? Just kidding.
Someday we'll have sponsors. They'll let us do that. And I was really excited for this to happen. And I think that social media is going to really allow us to bring more kids, more players, both alumni who are playing now in the NCAA, as well as the current players at all age groups. And I've kind of had the experience with my kids as they've grown up with recreation sports and travel sports, that the oldest kids, the oldest players, seem to get the most benefit of those clubs that were sponsoring them. And I'm wondering, can we as a booster club also recognize the younger groups? In other words, when it comes to making the experience better for these players, as well as making them better lacrosse players, can we as a booster club do that for the kids under 13, for the kids at the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade as well? And do you have some thoughts? I'll give you an example. What we discussed players of the week. Yeah. Can you expand on that?
Well, listen. There's the spirit of the stick, which is a varsity tradition. But I know, we know. Ken and I coached for many years in Kingston Youth Lacrosse together, and we used to hand out game balls and do all kinds of great things. So we want to take that spirit of the stick idea and bring it to all levels, so that each coach has the opportunity to recognize, but not just levels at the school age, which would be varsity, JV, modified, but also giving our youth coaches the opportunity to have some fun. So, taking that same concept, make it in a really inclusive program. Because our hope, our dream, as we, embark on this adventure is, that kindergartner, second grader, they're our future varsity players, and we want to keep them involved and excited. Right now, getting that uniform and that helmet on, and kindergartner, second grade, we want them to continue to improve and take the time and invest in themselves. But right now, it should be fun for them, and we want to make sure that we're bringing that fun to them and keeping them engaged.
Making these players better players. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're not in the classroom to make them better students, but I feel compelled as part of the Booster Club to make sure that we are making these players the best lacrosse players they can be from teenager through the time they graduate high school. And I felt in comparing what this district has to provide versus other districts that simply have more resources, that we could do something as a Booster Club to improve their training. And so one of the things that we have discussed for fundraising is to try and fundraise for certain types of equipment. And you can't see it right now, but what I placed on the screen is a picture of a rebounder.
Awesome. Oh, I've seen it.
So people are seeing that. And what we're hoping to do is fundraise for this type of equipment that can be placed on the district's property in a secure location and brought out for the students to play. And that's one of the things that we can do by fundraising. We're not just fundraising for T-shirts. It's important for us to fundraise to help the kids not only have a better experience, but also to have better training and become better athletes. So I thought that this was a really good opportunity to raise money for a good purpose, and also in terms of making these kids better lacrosse players, to give them an opportunity to have clinics, winter training sessions, and that all comes down to having parents and members of the community help contribute. And we talked about what's the benefit of being a member of Booster Club. And I get the feeling that some people, their gut reaction is, I'm giving money. What am I giving money for?
Right.
And I think it's important that we're able to explain in very cogent terms, in a concrete fashion, where their donations are going. The things that you
couldn't
mentioned,
agree more. Yeah.
The things that you mentioned already, there are things of value. At least if you're passionate about lacrosse and you're passionate about lacrosse student athletes, and you hear that our goal is to help kids from the rec level through the modified JV and varsity level, I can't help but think that more people would want to be involved. And in that regard, how do you think, you have your pulse, you have your finger on the pulse of this whole thing. How do you think the response has been so far?
How do I put that into words? It's kind of emotional, actually, because it's been, it's 2 weeks, and we're doing a podcast since we started this Booster Club effort. The community response has been outstanding. And I think utilizing social media, as you had mentioned earlier, Ken, communicating who we are and what we're trying to accomplish, I think that's going to be the pillar to being able to continue and have the success and have the community engaged, because transparency, right? With all that's going on in the world, knowing, the opportunities that your children may have, or, how they can stay involved, and how we can help coach and guide. I would like to say that as much as this is our inaugural launch, or our, first opportunity to do this with this podcast, it's not going to be this way all the time. We want to have guests. We want to have experts. We want to have, past players that have accomplished some significant things, both in school and on the field, and let our audience hear from them as well, so that, they can be educated. They can make good choices and know how to navigate, all while behind the scenes. I think it's important to note that we're also I shouldn't say that, wrong terminology, folks.
At least you didn't get the city wrong.
Let me bring that back. We want the coaches to help guide us. What do they need? What do they see? What are they trying to aspire to do? And We've had a lot of communication and conversation, but then at the end of the day, we want the booster club to go to work, and we want the coaches to go instill the right, skills and behaviors on the field for all of our players. And by the way, that's at all levels, from varsity all the way down to kindergarten. So that's the emotional aspect. These are our kids. This is the fabric of our community. And, by the way, the community's just been terrific so far, and we're 2 weeks in. I think we have aspirations, Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, to try to carry this momentum throughout the entire year.
Tell me what you've been doing out on people's driveways.
Yikes.
Tell us about
Sneaking. It's actually not me. There's this big tiger, Ken, that has really huge tiger paws. Having some fun, actually, and going to people. There we go. Recognizing players of all ages with our amazing tiger paw and our players' numbers on the screen. That right now, as you can see, we actually have, and this is where the inclusive part, that number 2 out there, by the way, shout out to our youth program. So that's one of our youth players, great attackman. And, he's coming along. He's in 6th grade, and we went out and we put a great tiger paw. So I know they're excited. The 13 that you saw, that's one of our varsity players. Again, across the board, just generating a high level of enthusiasm and having some fun. I mean, these guys are working hard, and they all can't wait to hit the field coming up real soon.
How do people get those prideful paw prints on their driveway?
Just let us know. You can follow our Instagram, Kingston Boys. That's long. I'm not sure, Ken. You might have to zero in on that. Our booster program. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we have some amazing posts there. Or obviously, you can reach out to Ken or myself, or as the kids would say, just DM us, and we'll hit you up with exactly what details you need to be able to participate. So, by the way, this is not just inclusive to lacrosse. We have a great field hockey family that said, we want our paw with our field hockey players number 19. A little shout out to our field hockey participant, but anybody can participate.
Do you think we could ever get some Friday night games on the schedule at Dietz under the lights? I checked out our schedule this year, and I don't think we have one Friday night game. Now, granted, it's a pandemic. Things are different this year than they will be in most years. But I wonder if we're able to confer with the administration and the coaches to see if they can get us Friday night games to really get a sense of pride and more fans at the games. I think there are ways that we can attract more fans to the games and make those games exciting both during the periods of the game as well as during halftime, before and after. I know we've talked about the certain things that we can do. For example, who would like to have a halftime show? I would like to have a halftime show.
Me.
I know that. I know that when the kids went to a recent UAlbany game a season ago, they brought 2 kids out onto the 50-yard line. They gave them sticks and said, shoot the ball 50 yards. It reminded me of the halftime shots at basketball games. So I think that we could have giveaways, raffles, and of course, kids can walk away with having won something at the halftime shows.
Well, you know what, Ken?
Yeah.
Sorry to interject, but I think everybody's just been waiting for you or I to, let our brains wander a little bit to get to where we are, because we'll be able to build towards that. Whatever obstacles are there, we'll I'm sure for everybody that's listening out there, be able to navigate through that. And I think the key is, if you look at just our abbreviated sprint of a season this year, even the JV and varsity are playing on the same days. They play an hour apart or something like that. So think about how you could build up some momentum to a Friday night game, whether it's just the boys or it's the varsity girls and boys, and, a lot of momentum, around this. Whisper, whisper, wink, wink. There's also a new lacrosse team up in Albany. Have you heard of them?
The professional one?
Yeah.
I have heard of them. What are your thoughts?
Well, I reached out to the president of the league today and looking to get create a relationship and some opportunities there that we can build on. We're only an hour away. I'm sure we have a lot of lacrosse fans.
This is an indoor Albany Firewolves.
Yeah, indoor at the Times Union Center, and so. Listen, you're in my brain. I mean, we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but just from the community engagement, the player and parents engagement right now, and what we have rattling off, I know we're going to be able to accomplish the goals that we have out in front of us, and that includes Friday night games. That includes having some fun. We're having fun right now, but we're coming out of COVID, which is kind of like ugh. But to see all these tiger paws out there and all these driveways, Ken, just going back to the fun aspect of this, imagine bringing that energy to Dietz Stadium. It's going to be terrific.
You said it all. We left it all on the table, and we did it all within 30 minutes, Kristan. So this has been a great teaser.
30 minutes. That's the fastest 30 minutes.
This was about 30 minutes.
Terrific.
We are two efficient individuals. Look. We did a great job. So with
I think I lost 6 pounds. I'm sweating.
Look, until next time, all right? Let's get together again. Everybody, have a good night.
See
Enjoy your
ya.
weekend. Peace.